Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast. I'm your host, Louis Carlin, and this is the Impact Wrestling edition of the Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast. We are part, of course, of the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network, and great to be back once again to discuss this week in Impact Wrestling. Quite a week we had. The wheels just keep turning at Impact Wrestling. It's never a dull moment, it seems. Some names were actually removed from the Impact roster this week, from the active roster on their website. Mahabali Shira, the Veterans of War, Mayweather and Wilcox, Swoggle, and initially Alicia Edwards was removed from the active roster on the website, but she has since been put back on. And people are once again talking about more people are leaving. Who's left at Impact Wrestling? What is there left? Is there any talent left? You know, I'm getting a little tired of talking about this every week. Yes, they're releasing wrestlers. They're going through a transitional phase right now. Everyone knows that they're moving their offices up to Canada, and moving up to Canada is not something that everybody will want to do. So yes, there's going to be a number of wrestlers leaving. But there are also a number of wrestlers coming in as well, as we've seen fresh faces and new talent as well. But nobody seems to be talking about that. They just seem to be reporting on the releases and people that are deciding to move on from Impact Wrestling. You know, when you think about it, it's Mahabali Shira, who was used sparingly. He was being used when they went to India. Okay, he was a focal point on the show when they were in India, but he's been used sparingly. He was last involved in a feud with Congo Kong, only because Tyrus decided to step down. It was supposed to be Congo Kong and Tyrus, but Tyrus stepped down, so Shira took his spot. Veterans of War we haven't seen in quite some time. And Swoggle wasn't even signed to a contract with Impact Wrestling, so I don't really see what the big deal is there. Now, of course, you don't like to see people lose their jobs, but I don't know if they necessarily decided to move on or if they were released, but nonetheless, you don't like to see people lose their jobs. But, unfortunately, it is, and I'm gonna use the Eli Drake quote here, it is a fact of life. Yeah, I have lost, numerous jobs in my 48 years of living. 47. I'll be 48 next month. And it's not fun. It's not fun. And so I don't wish that on anybody. But, and I hope they, all find work soon. But, you know, people don't need to jump on Twitter and start again saying, well, who's left at Impact Wrestling? Oh, here we go again. It's a transitional phase, like I said. You gotta understand that. There are gonna be changes made. Talent is gonna go, talent is gonna come in. This is what happens. This is what happens during a transitional phase. Let's use an example. Let's say, I'm gonna make up a name. Like, say a company called, Max's Juice. Max's Fruit Juice. Say Max's Fruit Juice has their offices in Texas. And they've been there for like 15 years. But they decided, you know what, we're gonna move our offices up to Canada. Not everybody's gonna go along with them. And a lot of people are gonna, resign and step away and look for other work because they live in Texas. And they're not gonna necessarily want to make the move up to Canada. So this is what's happening here. People have to understand that. That's all it is. That's all it is. And people are talking, I've read websites, some silly stuff that they're still not paying their talent. And I was reading that James Storm left because Impact Wrestling can't afford to pay, can't pay his salary. I can't believe people are still talking about it. The talent's getting paid. If people talent wasn't getting paid, all the main stars like Bobby Lashley, Eli Drake, EC3, I don't think they would stick around if they weren't getting paid. But the wrestlers are getting paid. I really feel that they're getting paid, and I don't think people need to be talking about that anymore, that they're not getting paid. Maybe back when Dixie Carter was struggling, the Dixie Carter era, and they were struggling. Maybe back then they weren't getting paid, but they're getting paid now. They can't be going on this long without getting paid and still work for them. So you need to squash that now. You need to squash that stuff. I didn't even think that was still a thing, that people are still saying, reporting that they're not getting paid. So, and websites out there, don't just, and I'm going to use the word fake news. Stop giving us fake news about Impact Wrestling. It's I know you have a website and you wanna get your hits and you want people to read the website and go to your website, but don't spread lies, don't spread rumors that aren't true. It's just stupid. It's just really bad. That's all I got. I know I talk about it a lot, and it really bugs me. And I still can't believe people are saying that talent's not getting paid, and for the people that are still saying, at this, these wrestlers that have been removed recently from the active roster, if you're still out there saying, well, who's left in Impact Wrestling? I said this once before, many times actually, I believe. Turn on the TV and watch Impact Wrestling, and you'll see the talent that's still there. Because it's damn good talent that they have there. It's very good talent that they have there, and there's a lot of it. So if you're worried about who's left in Impact Wrestling, turn on the TV, turn on Pop TV and watch it. If you're in Canada, watch it on the Fight Network, but watch it. And trust me, the talent's there. There's plenty of talent. And why, again, I don't like people losing their jobs. So why people are seem to be upset now that Swoggle is no longer with Impact Wrestling or the Veterans of War, which we haven't seen in a while. People are upset that Swoggle was last time we saw Swoggle, he was in that feud with Rockstar Spud, and the only reason why that feud worked was because of Rockstar Spud, really, so people are upset that Swoggle's no longer with Impact Wrestling. I guess they were really big fans of the Swoggle angle with Rockstar Spud that showed Swoggle getting upset because his pants were pulled down accidentally by Rockstar Spud. So I guess they're really such huge fans of that angle that they're upset that Swoggle's no longer with Impact Wrestling. Give it a rest, guys. Come on, give it a rest. It's a great product. I can't say that enough. It's a terrific product. It's a great show. Just, lots of people that are bad mouthing it don't even watch it. And I know I get tired of talking about this, but I wish I could get every single human being on the face of the planet that is bad mouthing Impact Wrestling, that hasn't watched Impact Wrestling for years. Wish I could get them all like in a big room, turn on the TV and let them watch 2 episodes of Impact Wrestling, and I'm sure most of their minds will change. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about that. Also, Markus Burke. Markus Burke put up an interesting video on his website page this week, and he was talking about his time in Impact Wrestling. He was talking about he went there and he was told he was going to be involved in the 6-man tag team match with Phil Atlas and Ray Steele against OVE and Sami Callihan. And he was also said that he was told that he was going to have a singles match. So he did of course we know, he did the 6-man tag team match, and he was in there quickly. He got kicked once by Sami Callihan, and he sold it really well. Markus Burke sold it really well, and that was his first appearance in Impact Wrestling. And on this Facebook video, he mentioned that he was supposed to get a singles match to show what he can actually do in the ring as a singles wrestler. And I know what he can do. I know Markus Burke is an extremely talented wrestler. I know he is outstanding in the ring, and he was going to get a chance to showcase his talent in a singles match, apparently. But it was supposed to happen as I'm just going off the Facebook video here. He mentioned it was supposed to happen on Tuesday, but the spots were filled, and they told him to come back on the Wednesday. He came back, but he wasn't able to get to his singles match, and they asked him to come back the following day on a Thursday, but he was booked in Quebec for a promotion that he mentioned was very good to him, or is very good to him, and he didn't want to cancel his appearance on the show. So he went to the show, and Impact Wrestling, the officials at Impact Wrestling apparently understood, asked him to come back, said there was no guarantee he was going to get that singles match, but they asked him to come back just in case, and Markus Burke decided not to go back. Now he stressed that he's not bad-mouthing Impact Wrestling. He said everybody there was great. Everybody in the back was terrific. But it was just a decision that he made. He even stressed that it might have been a bad decision, that he should have gone back, possibly. But I think it's a shame. I think it's a shame that he wasn't able to get that singles match, and hopefully he'll get that in the future, because I know Markus Burke will get in the ring. If he's able to get in the ring in a singles match and showcase his talents, I know I know there's going to be a lot of people impressed, because I know I've seen many Markus Burke matches. I've been following Markus Burke for about 2.5 years now. And I just tell you, the guy is extremely talented, and I really, really hope that he does get that opportunity to come back to Impact Wrestling and get that singles match and show the world what he can do, because Markus Burke is just fantastic, and he would be a absolutely terrific addition to the Impact Wrestling roster. So it is my hope that Impact Wrestling brings him back and gives him an opportunity to do his thing. Again, he would be an absolutely phenomenal addition to Impact Wrestling. So I got my fingers crossed. Bring him back, Impact Wrestling. Let him do his thing, and I guarantee you, you'll be impressed, and a lot of people, the majority of people watching will be impressed as well. So there. I just want to discuss that as well. Where the heck is my, oh, here it is. Looking for my water, sorry. So I want to, discuss that as well. So yeah, him and Tyson Dukes as well. They could sign Tyson Dukes to a contract, and Markus Burke. That would be two phenomenal additions to Impact Wrestling. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on to the show. I think I'm catching a little bit of a cold again. What I should do, I've been putting on weight lately, and go back to Markus Burke for a second. He's a vegan, and I used to be on a plant-based diet, and I lost a lot of weight doing that, but I started developing some health issues. I don't know if it was related to the plant-based diet, but I was getting vertigo issues, and most likely an ear thing. But ever since then, I've just been a little reluctant to go back to the plant-based diet. Again, probably has nothing to do with the health issues that occurred. But maybe I should use Markus Burke as an inspiration and go back and become a vegan. It's something to think about. I know when I was just off wrestling for a second. I know when I was on the plant-based diet, I didn't get sick that much. I rarely got sick, but I find myself seem to be getting a lot of colds lately. My immune system is a little weak, but nobody wants to hear about that. Nobody wants to hear about that. I'll save that for I'll save that for my plant-based my plant-based diet my podcast if I ever start one. But this is all about Impact Wrestling. So why don't we get on to Impact Wrestling? Just thinking of Markus Burke, and he's a vegan, and maybe I should go back and give it a shot. But then I'd have to give up pizza, and I don't know if I could do that. Well, I guess I could have vegan pizza. But anyway, Impact Wrestling this week. Impact Wrestling. It was an interesting show. A couple of random matches took place that I'm going to discuss. It seems like Impact Wrestling, when it comes to handing out title shots, they're just They just randomly hand out title shots to people that might not necessarily deserve them or be in line for a title shot, but they're handing them out. Example, the main event this week. The main event this week was Eli Drake defending against Petey Williams. Initially, it seems like a decent match. Eli Drake last week, cutting a promo, kind of bad-mouthing Canada. Petey Williams comes out to defend Canada's honor, and it leads up to a match, world title match, global title match for Petey Williams. One has to think is what has Petey Williams done to actually deserve a shot at the Impact Global title? He hasn't done anything. When you think about the last few weeks, he's lost an X Division match to Trevor Lee. He wasn't successful in the X Division 6-man match at Bound for Glory. He wasn't successful there, so he really hasn't done much to earn a shot at the global title, except that it's in Canada and he's Canadian, and I guess they were looking for some crowd popping. So Petey Williams gets a shot at the global title. I thought maybe they could have, built it up a little more. For example, they're in Canada. Maybe they could have had a Eli Drake defending the title against a top contender in Canada and have a little tournament between Canadian wrestlers. You could have had Petey Williams, Tyson Dukes, Markus Burke could have been in it. Maybe have fatal 4-way with four of the top wrestlers in Canada, and the winner gets a shot. That would be interesting. That would have made more sense if they did something like that. But Petey Williams gets a shot. And the match began, and of course Josh Matthews, right off the bat, says, "No one has ever kicked out of the Canadian Destroyer," which basically told me that, hey, Eli Drake is going to kick out of the Canadian Destroyer and be the first person to do so in this match. And lo and behold, I was right. Eli Drake was hit with the Canadian Destroyer, and Eli Drake kicked out of the Canadian Destroyer. So, stuff like that, they make it obvious, that by announcing that no one's ever kicked out of the Canadian Destroyer, that, hey, we're about to see somebody kick out of the Canadian Destroyer. So, I don't know how they can, I know they had a mention, they had to point out that no one's ever kicked out of it, to kind of add drama to the whole thing, or to make it seem like Eli Drake is a resilient champion. I understand that, but I don't know what anybody else was thinking, but I knew right away that Eli Drake was going to kick out of the Canadian Destroyer, and he did, and the match was solid. It was a solid match. The crowd wasn't into Petey Williams as I thought they were going to be. I know Josh Matthews mentioned that if Petey Williams wins, this crowd is going to become unglued. I disagreed. When he hit the Canadian Destroyer, it's not like the crowd just jumped up and went wild. They kind of sat in their chairs and just, okay, maybe, I know they brought a couple of fans in, but maybe some of them didn't even know what the Canadian Destroyer was. So I don't know. I just thought the crowd was going to be a little more into Petey Williams. You got a few Petey Williams chants here and there, but when he hit the Canadian Destroyer, it's not like the crowd blew the roof off the building and thought we were going to get a new champion. But again, solid match. Good. Of course, Eli Drake won the match. I'm glad he won the match clean. He needed a win like that. There was no interference there was a little interference during the match, by Chris Adonis, but there was no ref bump here. There was no controversy. Eli Drake hits the gravy train, wins the match, cleanly, which, thank you, Impact Wrestling, for giving us that finish, because Eli Drake needs to gain credibility as champion, and this match actually gave him a little bit of credibility, more credibility, I should say, because he does have a tremendous amount of credibility, but he needs a few wins like this one, to say, oh, well, he's turning into a dominant champion, and, good job here, but again, not sure why, just Petey Williams is randomly handed a shot at the title. Other than that, they're in Canada and he's Canadian. That's really the only reason why he got the shots. Okay, and also the other random match, was Fallah Bahh. EC3 defending the grand title against Fallah Bahh. Not sure what Fallah Bahh has done. Just like Petey Williams, it really hasn't done anything. Fallah Bahh, since Fallah Bahh has been in Impact Wrestling, Fallah Bahh has not won one single match. Unless I've completely missed something on Explosion. If he won a match there that I missed it, I apologize, but every single match that I've seen Fallah Bahh in, he's been on the losing side. Yet he gets a shot at EC3's grand title. Again, a little confusing. It's almost like, they're in the back and they're looking around. We gotta get an opponent for EC3. Oh, hey, comes Fallah Bahh. Fallah, you want a shot at the title? And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? So that's basically what it seems like. Cause again, Fallah Bahh has been on the losing end of every single match that I've seen him in. And I've seen Fallah Bahh in, pretty sure I've seen every Fallah Bahh match, in Impact Wrestling, cause there hasn't been too many. And I'll look it up later. To see if I am correct. But if he has won a match, it had to be. It must have been on Explosion that I missed. But still, one doesn't get the impression that Fallah Bahh deserves a shot at the grand title. I don't even know how they're determining who gets shots at the grand title. Again, a tournament here would have been a good way to go, or even build Fallah Bahh up for 2 or 3 weeks. Build him up for 2 or 3 weeks, and then give him a shot at the title. Let him win 2 or 3 matches dominantly, and then give him a shot at EC3. I think that would have been a better way to go, instead of just randomly giving Fallah Bahh a shot. Cause you went on Twitter and they had the whole tale of the tape, like it was just like this huge match, but it didn't have the huge match feel. Cause like I said, people have seen Fallah Bahh and he hasn't won a match. So it really wasn't, I don't know. It's just odd. And I apologize. I keep hitting the pop screen. It's the second time I've done that. I apologize. So you're probably hearing a little pop. So I apologize on that. I'm a little too close to the pop screen, the pop filter. But yeah. So hold on one second. I got to clear my throat here. So. Okay, alright, sorry about that. I just had to clear my throat. I apologize out there, for all my Impact, Wrestling podcast fans. But yeah, don't get me wrong, it was, very, very interesting, to see Fallah Bahh. I know Fallah Bahh is really talented. And I've been saying that for a while, and I question, Impact Wrestling's booking of him, of having him kind of like enhancement talent and losing all his matches that I've seen him in. And I really haven't seen him in too many singles matches. It's normally he's tag teaming with, Mario Baccara. But I've seen him against, singles match against, Mahabali Shera, which he's lost. He's very talented. He's a smaller version of Yokozuna, which is a good comparison for Fallah Bahh. So Fallah Bahh gets a shot at the grand title, which is fine. Like I said, Fallah Bahh, in my opinion, very, very, very talented wrestler. And on the flip side of what I said earlier on, he's randomly getting a shot at the title. I was very happy to see Fallah Bahh finally get a singles opportunity as a singles wrestler here in this match against EC3. I kind of wish it wasn't under Grand Wrestling rules, Grand Title rules, because haven't been a fan of the rounds, 3 rounds in the point system since it initially started. I'm not sure why they're still doing it. I was kind of hoping they would get rid of it and just have the Grand Title matches just be traditional matches. But nonetheless, again, happy to see Fallah Bahh get the opportunity as a singles wrestler. And I tell you, for someone who hasn't been seen that much on Impact Wrestling, and it's basically been in tag team matches, as I stated, with Mario Baccara, Fallah Bahh has charisma. He has something. He got the crowd going with the slapping his head and yelling "Bah, bah." The crowd was chanting along with him, and it was one really funny spot where Eli Drake tried to do a move, but he wasn't able to do it, and Fallah Bahh gave him no, and the crowd popped. It was terrific. It was terrific. Fallah Bahh has charisma, and he has something special there. And he connected with the crowd immediately. So now, something I've been saying for a long time, and we saw it in this match, that Fallah Bahh has something, and Impact Wrestling should have given him this opportunity a long time ago. But again, back under the grand title rules, it's the 3 rounds. We have the 3 judges. It's a point system. So round 1 was dominated by Fallah Bahh. So he wins the first round, and once he won the first round, the way these matches go, you knew right away that EC3 was going to win round 2. He did. He won round 2. We actually had dueling chants. There were lots of Fallah Bahh chants, but there was a lot of dueling chants as well. So the crowd was kind of getting into this one. And in round 3, the crowd seemed to be behind Fallah Bahh, and but EC3, it was a good back and forth action in round 3. But EC3 wound up pinning Fallah Bahh in round 3 with his foot on the ropes. So which is interesting. He cheated to win. He you think about this. You think about it. You got 3 judges that are judging this match. So all 3 judges are watching the match. And EC3 decides to put his feet on the ropes and cheat to win the match. The referee didn't see it, but the 3 judges had perfect view of EC3's feet on the ropes to gain the pinfall victory. You got to wonder why none of these judges actually spoke up and said something. This odd. I mean, you got the judges there. I guess cheating is okay. If the judges see cheating, they have to turn a blind eye to cheating in these matches. They're just wondering about that. It kind of just didn't make sense to me. But anyway, it was a decent match. I hope Impact Wrestling, the officials in the back, were watching, and they see what they potentially have here with Fallah Bahh. And they give Fallah Bahh a push that he deserved a long time ago. So I'm hoping that I hope it's not like weeks and weeks and weeks before we see Fallah Bahh again. So give him that shot, give him that opportunity. He deserves it. And EC3, and I think EC3 is supposed to be their top heel, and Fallah Bahh. Again, I know I'm pointing this out a lot, which we haven't seen in a while, who's never really won a match, yet their top heel had to cheat to defeat Fallah Bahh. I don't know if that makes him look weak or how it makes him look. It doesn't make him look stronger. It makes him look weaker to have EC3. One of your top heels having to cheat to defeat a wrestler who's never won a match in Impact Wrestling. So it's a little confusing match there. But hopefully they will end this. And the match, I think, really could have really got going if they didn't have these this round system, 3 rounds, where they have to stop they have to, the match stops after round 1 and then round 2, and the match if they could just have a traditional match, it would be much better, in my opinion. And I voice that a lot, and I know a lot of people share that opinion. I know what they want to be a little different, but it's just hasn't worked in my opinion. And like again, it's a predetermined ending. I point this out many times. It's a predetermined ending. So having judges and a point system really, in my opinion, doesn't work in a sport or a form of entertainment that has a predetermined ending. So there you have it. There. And that grand title was actually originally an Impact Wrestling title. So it actually, they didn't have to put a little metal sticker over the front. So it actually looks really good. It's actually, in my opinion, the grand title is actually the best looking title in Impact Wrestling right now. In my opinion, of course. But again, please, let's get rid of this point. Let's get rid of this rounds and point system. It's ruining. It's not ruining anything, but anyway, let's get on to something else. Sorry, I don't know. I had to pause the podcast for a bit. I had to go up and make a cup of tea, so you probably just heard me take a little sip of the tea. So you'll probably I got a really strong microphone, so you're probably going to hear that quite a bit. I'll try to keep it to a minimum because I know a lot of people don't like to hear people sipping tea during podcasts. So anyway, then the opening match we had was Taiji Ishimori, Trevor Lee, and Caleb Conley against Sanjay Dutt, Desmond Xavier, and Garza Jr. A few things about this match. It was a good match, but again, it was a little strange to see Taiji Ishimori, who's not really a heel, in my opinion, team with Trevor Lee and Caleb Conley, and was wondering where Adam Everett is. Did he make it to Canada? I can't think. I don't. Oh, you don't know. He was. No. I don't think he was at Bound for Glory at all. Maybe he was. I'm trying to remember if he was outside the ring, but. Interesting that we didn't see Adam Everett here. Taiji Ishimori is a strange partner for Lee and Caleb Conley, and there was a little dissension between the two. And it was interesting because you had Trevor Lee, Josh Matthews actually discussing Trevor Lee competing for Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. So you got to think that maybe Pro Wrestling Guerrilla is going to show up on the Global Wrestling Network soon if they're plugging Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, because I know they were plugging a couple of promotions over the last few weeks that are on the Global Wrestling Network. So that'll be terrific if Pro Wrestling Guerrilla gets on the Global Wrestling Network. But that's just speculation on my part. But it was interesting that he did mention Trevor Lee competing in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. And match itself was actually pretty good. I was just trying to think if I named their opponents, but I did. Sanjay Dutt, Desmond Xavier, Garza Jr. And it was a really good match. It was a decent opener. Sanjay Dutt, Xavier, and Garza Jr. do win. Now, I'm a little concerned about Garza Jr. Guy's competing with an injured shoulder. I thought it might have been a kayfabe injury at first, but it appears to be a legit injury. And, I understand, the show must go on, and you got to give a lot of credit to Garza Jr. Getting in the ring with an injured shoulder. But these are random matches. I could understand if Garza Jr. came into the ring with an injured shoulder for an X Division match against Trevor Lee, with something on the line. That would make a lot of sense. But just these random matches, Garza Jr. competing in, if he's got an injured shoulder, couldn't they just get somebody else? Couldn't they just say, okay, Garza Jr., your shoulder is hurt, you're on the mend, you gotta rest that shoulder, well, we're gonna put somebody else in the match. Instead of saying, you know what, Garza Jr., your shoulder is hurt, but you're gonna compete tonight. I mean, the guy can't even lift up his arm. It's just, I don't, and if it is a kayfabe injury, if it's not a legit injury, I don't know where they're going with it. I don't know where they're going with it, because he had the injury at Bound for Glory, and now he has the injury on Impact this week. So I don't know where they're going with it. But it's not stopping him from ripping those pants off. He's still doing the ripping the pants off spot. So it's not stopping him from doing that. But in all seriousness, if it's a legit injury, and I really think it is, my advice to Garza Jr. is these random matches are really not that important. Let somebody else have that spot and let that shoulder heal properly. That's my opinion. But again, decent opener. Lots of good spots. Desmond Xavier, terrific wrestler. I'm still a little bummed out that we didn't get push for Desmond Xavier versus Trevor Lee for the X Division title. Might be coming soon, but they really should have played off that Super X Cup win and made him the number one contender. And again, like I said, it should have been Trevor Lee defending that title against just Desmond Xavier at Bound for Glory. And hopefully soon we'll get that feud. That'll be a terrific match between the two. But again, Sanjay Dutt, Desmond Xavier, and Garza Jr. do win the match. Okay, then from there we got a really cool Sami Callihan and OVE video. Great stuff. You know, OVE first came in. I remember their first match was at Slammiversary, and it was a mediocre match. It wasn't very good, and they came across as not being really. They came across as, in the first couple of matches, it's just like there's something missing there. There's a lot of hype there. Just they weren't living up to the hype. Would be a good way of putting it. Then they got involved with LAX, where they defeated LAX for the tag team titles. Personally felt that they didn't deserve to get the shots at the title. They didn't defeat anybody. But nonetheless, they got the shots and they put the titles on OVE, which I pointed out would have been, my opinion, it was a mistake. If you listen to the past podcasts, and I really wasn't sold on OVE. They did a whole thing with OVE going to Mexico, traveling to Mexico they wanted to talk to Conan, but basically all they wanted was their money for being on the Crash, and it was a train wreck of a segment, and I voiced my opinion on that segment as well, in a past podcast. And they were coming off as kind of goofballs, in my opinion. They were coming off as goofballs, as schmucks, so I guess you could say. But it's all changed now. It's completely changed now. Sami Callihan came in. OVE turned heel with Sami Callihan, and I think right now OVE are freaking cool. OVE and Sami Callihan, turning them heel and bringing in Sami Callihan for OVE was the best thing that Impact Wrestling could have done. I think OVE is awesome as heels. Sami Callihan with them is tremendous. They've made me a big fan now. I'm a huge fan of this faction, and now I see them as tag team champions, and I say they deserve the titles without a doubt. And they turned me into a huge fan basically overnight. And this video that they did was just terrific. With Sami Callihan, the promo was great. It was filmed great. I'm a fan. I'm fully sold. I'm on the OVE bandwagon right now. I'm fully sold on OVE, without a doubt. And great work, great stuff by them. And their feud with LAX has become my favorite feud, without a doubt, in Impact Wrestling. And this week, of course, we had LAX. It was Santana, Ortiz, and Homicide taking on OVE with Sami Callihan. And this was just a brawl from the start. Great match. Terrific match. Great spots. Great spots. Lots of action. Like I said, it's my favorite feud right now in Impact Wrestling. I love this feud. LAX did get the win here, and solid match. As I said, OVE are much better as heels. LAX, they were getting cheered while they were heels. So having them as a babyface team makes sense. Kind of makes sense. But as great as this feud is right now, I have this fear it's going to get tiresome very quickly. Basically because there are no other tag teams in Impact Wrestling right now. There are no other tag teams right now. And I want to point this out. I was going to point this out at the start of the podcast, but as I was going along, talking about Markus Burke, I figured, I'll wait till I get to the actual match. There are only 2 tag teams right now in Impact Wrestling. And you got LAX, and you have OVE. And that's it. There are no other tag teams right now. Veterans of War, as I stated earlier, they're no longer with Impact Wrestling. Garza Jr. is a singles wrestler now. I don't know where Laredo Kid is. So they're not a tag team anymore. Fallah Bahh and Mario Baccara, we haven't seen them in a while. And I hope Fallah Bahh gets his shot as a singles wrestler, because I think he'll be better off as a singles wrestler. So they're not a tag team anymore. Reno Scum recently departed from Impact Wrestling, so they're not there anymore. So we have 2 tag teams right now, and that's it in Impact Wrestling. And that's it, LAX, OVE. And once that feud runs its course, where do they go from there? They need to fix the tag team division. Now, I gotta give Jeff Jarrett credit. When he came back in originally into Impact Wrestling, he brought a lot of tag teams with him, and the tag team division was starting to thrive. But now it's on a downward spiral again. Much like when Dixie Carter was running the ship. Decay, you had 1 tag team, and they were the tag team champions. Decay were the tag team champions, Abyss and Crazy Steve, and then the Hardy Boys had to come back together. The Broken Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy, they had to reform and feud with the K for the tag team titles. But that was it. There were no other tag teams, Impact Wrestling back then. We're headed towards the similar situation. We are at a similar situation here, I should say. Not headed towards, we are at a similar situation. They gotta get more tag teams in Impact Wrestling to make things a little more interesting. And I have a couple of ideas. I have a couple of suggestions. 3 teams that I would consider, 4 teams I'm gonna name right now. The first team, Smash Wrestling has a terrific tag team, and I know Smash Wrestling is working with Impact Wrestling in some capacity, in a talent exchange, cause you see a lot of talents, you see a lot of Impact Wrestling talents on Smash, and you see some, Smash Wrestling talents, show up on Impact Wrestling, but they have a great tag team in Smash Wrestling called Hollow Beefcake. Idris Abraham and Joe Coleman. They are one of the most entertaining tag teams in professional wrestling today. If you read my reviews on Kayfabe today, the last review, Hollow Beefcake. That'd be a great name too, Hollow Beefcase, but that really wouldn't make any sense. But Hollow Beefcake, very entertaining team, great tag team. They work so well together. They should think about, now that they're in Canada, think about bringing in Idris Abraham and Joe Coleman. I know both have been in Impact Wrestling in some capacity. Joe Coleman's had a few matches on Explosion, and we've seen Idris Abraham Put them together as a team. Bring in Hollow Beefcake, great tag team. They would definitely add to the floundering tag team division right now in Impact Wrestling. Also, two Canadian wrestlers, Tyson Dukes, I mentioned earlier, and Markus Burke. Why not make them a tag team? Make them a tag. I know they're great singles wrestlers, but bring them in. We need a tag team. They would be a terrific tag team, I think, in Impact Wrestling. I think their styles would mesh well together, and that's just another suggestion. Markus Burke and Tyson Dukes. Also, there's a team out there that I'm a big fan of that are starting to catch on, that I think would be terrific in Impact Wrestling. Sugar Brown and Clutch, otherwise known as the Bonus Boys. Terrific tag team. I saw them feuding with another tag team that I'm going to suggest, the Whirlwind Gentlemen, at Paragon Pro, when Paragon Pro, before they folded. Terrific tag team. So yeah, Bonus Boys and the Whirlwind Gentlemen would be great additions to the Impact Wrestling tag team roster. Just a couple of suggestions I had, I want to throw out there. But if they could sign one tag team, I would definitely go with Hollow Beefcake. Without a doubt. But I'm sure they could bring in a few more tag teams. I'm sure the Bonus Boys would love the opportunity to come up here and show what they can do. And I know they would kill it, by coming up here and, showing off their skills. So Impact Wrestling, they need to get that tag team division going again. Cause right now, it's, having two tag teams in a tag team division is not very good. Not very good. I guess it would even even if they want to bring back Fallah Bahh and Mario Bakara and just have them tag team again. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but I would rather Fallah Bahh remain as a singles wrestler. But again, like I said, they need to get 3 or 4 more tag teams. Bring back Reno Scum. Bring back Reno Scum. I'm sure Reno Scum would love to come back. Lester the Legend and Adam Thornstowe would love to come back. Bring them back. Why not? Bring them back. But whatever they do, Impact Wrestling, please, you gotta get more tag teams. Even though, think of Smash Wrestling, if, Brent Banks and Tarek, they used to be the, I think they were called the Ballers. Well, they were a tag team. They were a decent tag team. Bring in Brent Banks and Tarek from Smash Wrestling. Let them tag team. Look to Atlantic Canada. You got tag teams like Sabotage out there. Another really good tag team. You got to bring in more tag teams. You got to showcase new talent. You got to bring in more tag teams. So there's a little plug there for Sabotage from Atlantic Canada. You're welcome, guys. Anyway, so hopefully they'll get that tag team division squared away really soon. And then from there, where do we go from there? We talked about. We had they're plugging the Global Wrestling Network. We had a flashback moment. Ken Shamrock versus Malice for the NWA title. I believe this was back from 2002. Decent match. Ken Shamrock winning the NWA title. Just one of the matches you could see on the Global Wrestling Network. Dan Lambert comes in, and Dan Lambert cuts an in-ring promo, which is dude could cut a promo, man. That dude could cut a promo, and he did a good job. He really got under the crowd's skin. He did the anti-Canada thing, or he got some cheap heat. But a heat nonetheless he got. But he he's been cutting some really good promos. It's getting to a point where I'm really looking forward to a Dan Lambert promo, because he's really doing a good job. But basically he was out because he wants Bobby Lashley's release from Impact Wrestling, and he says nobody will be safe unless Impact Wrestling releases him. So he demands an official to come out to sign the release. But instead of an official, Moose comes out. He cuts a promo. Dan Lambert asks the crowd, "Does everyone want to see me go after? If you want to see me go after Dan Lambert, give me I'm not sure, he specified the moose signal, and everyone went, moose, moose, moose. And so he jumps in the ring, he goes after Dan Lambert, but America's Top Team, they attack Moose, but James Storm comes out, makes the save. I don't know the guy's name, but one of the smaller America's Top Team, MMA fighters, gets in James Storm's face and says, "You don't go after, Dan Lambert," and slaps James Storm, and then James Storm just hits him over the head with a beer bottle and knocks him right out. And then James Storm cuts a promo of a lifetime, and he just absolutely killed this promo. It was a promo about professional wrestling, and it was just an incredible, heartfelt promo cut by James Storm, and he can cut one of the best promos in the business. And you gotta say, after watching Dan Lambert's promo, which was great, then you get James Storm's terrific promo. This was a fantastic segment for promos. Very, very entertaining. And looks like James Storm, his final feud with Impact Wrestling is going to be with America's Top Team. So I was going to say James Storm retiring, but he's not really retiring, so I don't. But anyway, his last few matches, last few shows with James Storm, I should say, should be very interesting. I'm going to miss James Storm in Impact Wrestling, but as I said last week, I do wish him well, and I do wish him good luck, and I'm sure wherever he goes, he's going to be just fine. But hey, it was time to move on. I understand. No problem with that. He's been with Impact Wrestling for 15 years. Time to move on. Totally understandable. No hard feelings here. And again, I wish him nothing. I just want to thank him for his contributions to Impact Wrestling. He made me a big fan, not only of him, but of Impact Wrestling. And I wish him terrific luck in the future. And whatever he does, he's going to be successful. Wherever he goes, whoever he faces, he's going to be just fine. I was just about to get corny and say, well, sorry about their damn luck, but I thought that might have sounded a little corny, so I decided not to go ahead and say that. But in all seriousness, wherever he goes, he's going to be just fine, and he will be very, very successful. So Markus Top Team and Bobby Lashley were actually in the back, and KM shows up and he says that he likes what these guys are doing and he wants in, and Bobby Lashley says, "You have to prove yourself." KM says, "Okay." So let's see where that goes from there. So I guess it looks like, I don't know if KM might, actually Dan Lambert initially told him to get lost, but Bobby Lashley said prove himself. So it looks like, KM's gonna try to join, the American Top Team. Okay, so then we had, Gail Kim. Gail Kim. First off, they showed a absolutely outstanding Gail Kim tribute video. Very, 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 very good tribute video for Gail Kim, and well deserved, because she's been a top star in professional wrestling for quite some time, and great video. It almost watching the video, you got a little emotional, and I gotta say, it's like, because I know she's stepping down, and she's a fantastic in-ring performer, great talent, and it was a little emotional. It was an emotional video. I'm not gonna lie. It was a emotional moment for Gail Kim, and so Jeremy Barash is in the ring and introduced Gail Kim. Gail Kim comes to the ring, and then Ali comes to the ring. Well, actually, prior to this, we had Gail Kim in the back with Ali, and Ali, they were talking for a bit, and they hugged, and they had a few words, and they hugged each other, and Gail Kim, Ali was telling Gail Kim what she meant to her, and Gail Kim, appreciated that, and they hugged, and that was prior to this. But Gail Kim comes to the ring after being introduced by Jeremy Barash, and then Ali's music hit, and she came to the ring, and I thought that was a little odd, that Ali, because in that segment, Ali didn't say, or Gail Kim, I don't think Gail Kim indicated that I want you to come to the ring with me. And if she did, I missed it, and I apologize, but I'm almost certain that Gail Kim did not ask Ali to come to the ring with her, but Ali came to the ring, which was odd, and I'm instantly thinking, are we gonna get a heel turn here from Ali? Is she gonna turn on Gail Kim? So that's what I was thinking initially, because it was a little strange, Ali in the ring, when Gail Kim, is, about to cut an emotional promo, which she did, and she announced that she was relinquishing her title. So to have Ali out there for that, I thought was a little strange. I was going back thinking of the Mark Henry, John Cena, when Mark Henry pretended he was retiring and then turned on John Cena. So I thought this was going to happen here, only vice versa. I thought Ali was going to turn on Gail Kim, and maybe Gail Kim have one more match against Ali. Maybe Ali was jealous, but that's what I was thinking. But then I'm thinking, Ali is not going to turn heel. Ali's as cute as a button. She's an adorable little lady, so I was just like, she's not going to turn heel. But I was just, all these thoughts were going through my mind. Why is she here? Why is she in the ring for this? I'm thinking, there's got to be a heel turn coming. Something's going to happen here. But no, Gail Kim, she cut a very emotional promo, and then announced that she was relinquishing the title, and then her and Ali hugged, and that was basically the end of the segment. So it was a little strange having Ali in the ring, in my opinion. I think the focus should have just been on Gail Kim, and then maybe after Gail Kim cuts the promo or relinquishes the title, maybe then Ali could come to the ring and, all emotional, give her a hug. But to have Ali in the ring, I just thought was a little strange. I don't know. It's my opinion. Then after that, we had just an awful segment, with, Grado and Joseph Park. Joseph Park, I guess, is in the back. He's in catering. He's about to have some lunch. Grado's at the table. One end of the table, Joseph Park's at the other end, and when Joseph Park sits down, a bunch of wrestlers leave. They don't want to sit with Joseph Park. And Grado is still there, and Joseph Park says that he's sorry, that he'll never see Abyss again, and he's going to make it up to him, and he says, here's the visa. You can have it. Now you can stay in the United States, even though we're in Canada. And so he gives him the visa back, and then a Royal Mounted Police officer shows up and says that he's looking for Grado. And Grado says, I'm Grado. And the Royal Canadian Mounted Police says, your visa might be good in the United States, but you don't have a Canadian visa. Joseph Park says, I can't help you. It's out of my jurisdiction. This is Canada. And the Royal Canadian Mounted Police officer takes Grado away. And it was awful. I have zero interest in this. I don't care. I hope they deport Grado. If they deport Grado back to England and we don't see him anymore now because of this, I'm fine with it. I'm sure he could find plenty of work in the UK or Scotland, or because there's a lot of promotions out there. But I don't care. I don't care about it. The segment was the Eggment. I must be thinking of my breakfast, because I think I'm going to have some eggs for breakfast. Actually, I was thinking of eggs. The Eggment. But the segment was just awful. And again, like I said, I have no interest, and I don't care where it goes. And that was it. And that was it for Impact Wrestling. This week. Not a bad show. It's actually a very, very good show. Very entertaining. Like I said, a lot of random stuff. But I gave my opinion on that. And, next week, did they announce anything for next week? I don't think they announced any matches yet for next week. Let me see if I wrote anything down. I know we have a match. I don't know if it's next week or not. But I know OVE and Sami Callihan will be taking on LAX in a barbed wire match. But that wasn't announced, so I don't think it's going to be next week. No, it doesn't look like any matches were announced for next week. But I'm sure if you go on their Twitter feed, they'll be announcing matches. But that's it. That was it for Impact Wrestling. Everything was, I enjoyed everything except for the Grado segment. I could care less about that. I don't care. I hoped, the whole thing was over with the Abyss, with the awful Abyss Grado match, but they're going to continue it. I guess they think people are interested. Maybe people are, but I'm not. But, that's it. Don't have anything else to say, except, I'll be back next week going over Impact Wrestling once again. So until then, thank you very much for, joining me this week. I really appreciate it. And for everyone that's been tuning in, week after week, I know our, numbers are growing week after week after week after week. And this is something I should have done in the beginning. I apologize. I should have waited till the end, but I thank everybody. We're really getting really, really good numbers here on the Pro Wrestling Personified podcast. And the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network in general, are getting, great numbers all around. So I just want to thank each and every one of you that have been downloading and listening to the podcast. And I know I'm speaking not only for myself, but for everybody at the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. I just want to say a heartfelt thank you. And until next week, I will definitely be back. And until then, my name is Louis Carlin, and take care. Bye bye. And as always, please stay safe, everybody.